Dollar. Dirt on money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, let's get original crew. Back on the channel, man. Nick Crowley. How they do? I say how they do.
How they do?
We got the children's TV show with a dark secret. I think when Nick first uploaded this, a couple people had come and said we gotta check out the new Nick Crowley. Then again this week, people saying, I'm like, all right, let's just get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, man. So with this, not you trying to flex your pen. Y'all, she picked up her pen and it ain't even wrong. She just said, she scribbled. She scribbled, y'all.
That's cursive.
You want to show the people what you scribbled?
No, because I have so much stuff on here. Yo.
I dropped my pen. She want to flex that she still got hers.
And I got two more over here.
I don't like you. Hey, man, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want the first part, all you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
lock it in with a thumbs up.
But, hey, let's hop into it. Let's check it out. Let's see what this is about. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it, y'all.
And it'll be worth 20 points. No doubt, I'll have a picture on the front page of every newspaper in the country, right, Ron?
It's 8 a.m. sharp on a Saturday morning in 1979. Families in the Tampa Bay area turn on their television sets as thousands of sleepy children awake on their day off from school. Some flip to Nickelodeon, where a rerun of Pinwheel is playing. Some flip to ABC, where they would catch the final episode of a short-lived TV series called Fangface. However, that morning, others would opt for a more virtuous wake-up call, flipping the station instead to Channel 22, or the Christian Television Network, where a new show was opening the day's slate. A show called Joy Junction is the place to be. Joy for you and me. The show Joy Junction.
You remember waking up on Saturdays, watching... What was your Saturday morning routine as a child? I had me a Saturday morning routine, y'all. I don't know about you, but I sure had one.
I used to get up. I used to brush my teeth and wash my face. Use the restroom. I go in the kitchen, fix me a bowl of cereal, and then I climb on the couch with my blanket and flip through the,
Girl, you taking 20 years.
I flip through the channels.
My morning routine was I wake up about 7
that
o'clock
is so rude.
and I watch cartoons from 7 a.m.
You didn't brush your teeth, wash your face or nothing?
Hell no, it's the weekend, baby. It's the freaking weekend, baby. We about to have us some fun.
Okay, that's not. Anyway.
I was thinking about what's called.
But that's messed up that you interrupt.
I was thinking about Love Don't Cost a Thing.
I really was like, in my, I had my eyes closed. I was really like, I pictured myself and everything. The blanket I had and everything.
What cereal you used to eat?
It just depends on what we had in the house.
Frosted Flakes.
But Frosted Flakes, I was in my house on mainly Frosted Flakes. My mom used to buy that a lot.
Frosted Flakes.
Or Captain Crunch.
Frosted Flakes with some cartoons.
Frosted Flakes or Captain Crunch.
And then if it's one of them good weekends, your mom will wake up and get you some good, wake up to some bacon, getting seared up and got you some eggs. You just wake up, smell the bacon. Get you some bacon. Well, ain't nothing like some bacon, eggs, and cartoons, huh? With a little side of toast. I know.
The day slate. A show called Joy Junction is the place to be. Joy for you and me. The show Joy Junction quickly found its place in the hearts of viewers, with kids immediately connecting with the quirky characters and silly games. Their Christian parents, too, found solace in the show's themes and non-offensive stories, creating a program that could be experienced together as a whole family. From that day on, families all across Florida and eventually across the entire United States came to enjoy the program, which continued on for a run of over 20 long years, until one Saturday morning at 8 a.m. sharp, when, without explanation, the show came to an unceremonious end and was never broadcast again. Today, The show and all official records of it have been scrubbed from the internet, with the companies behind its creation and the networks that aired it acting as if it never even existed. Some allegedly going as far as to destroy any remaining copies, thanks solely to the heinous events that transpired during and after its television run. This is the story of Joy Junction, the children's TV show with an unimaginably dark secret.
Come and join us for a half hour of fun and games at Joy Junction. Now here's Sheriff Don.
Thank you, and welcome to this fun little town of Joy Junction.
Joy Junction was both the name of the show and the name of the fictional town in which it was focused. A town where numerous characters converged to tell stories, play games, and answer questions, all of which pertaining to Christianity. Each episode followed the same basic structure. They were 30 minutes long and would tackle one general lesson taught in the Bible and tell it through an acted out story. This was then interspersed with various games and audience participation, as the show heavily leaned on including its young fan base and immersing them in the world of Joy Junction. They even had a live studio audience for every episode, comprised of kids ages 3 to 13, with the participants and crowd genuinely seeming excited to be there, which was largely due to its lovable cast of characters. The most prevalent of these was Sheriff Don, who was actually played by the creator of the show itself, Don McAllister.
And the whole gang is here, so we're going to have us a good time today. Glad you could join us for the next 30 minutes.
He guided the show from segment to segment and often focused on the Bible while driving home the episode's central theme, while also being the one who most often interacted with the children who participated in the show. Then there was Forrest Padley, a soft-spoken professor who, ironically, often had lessons taught to him due to his obvious clueless nature.
Mr. Bubble, he'll even help when you did wrong.
Well, I'm not a poet, but how about he'll even help when you're in trouble?
Hey, Sheriff Don, you're a poet too.
And of course, the fan favorite, Whittler Dan, a caricature of a southern farmer known as the goofy storyteller of the group.
Good, yeah. Oh, hi. I'm just sitting here reading some of the mail from Joy Junction and some of the jokes in here. Would you like me to read some more? Oh, okay. That's good, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want me to read it? Yeah.
But of all the characters to come from Joy Junction, there was one, or two, who were by far the most popular, yet polarizing. Ron and Marty. Played by professional ventriloquist Ronald Williams, Ron and Marty were far and away the most memorable characters for those who watched the show, and for obvious reasons too. Many children watching at home found the duo, and Marty specifically, to be off-putting, even horrifying, with some claiming that the doll gave them nightmares and was just too creepy to look at, causing many to stop watching the show altogether. But despite this, others found the duo to be hilarious and entertaining, tuning in week after week just to see them perform. For the viewers, it was a love or hate relationship with Ron and Marty. But even so, it was impossible to dismiss their impact on the show. They appear in every single episode that we have available today, and they were often tasked with teaching the children some of the series' most important lessons. Lessons like not to cuss.
It seems like I'm hearing a lot of swear words. All the kids are using swear words these days. And I'm afraid one of them's going to slip out of my mouth. First of all, why don't you try immediately praying and asking the Lord to take those bad words and thoughts out of your mind? Say, that's a good idea.
Practicing self-control.
Self-control? Oh, well, I don't think my self-control works. It must be broken. Well,
We can see your mouth moving, my dog. The ventriloquist act a little shaky. You don't think so? But that dog does look a little weird. And why it looks so much like him? But without the glasses. You know what I'm saying? You got the bang going, swoop.
oh, well, I don't think my self-control works. It must be broken. Well, no, Marty, I don't think anybody can practice self-control all by themselves. But if you'll just ask the Lord to help you, He will.
Defeating bad thoughts.
Hearts will cause good words and thoughts to come out of our mouths. It's almost so, Marty, as if our mouths will overflow with the thoughts and the ideas that are inside of us. You know, we need to be very careful about what we put in our minds and our hearts, Marty. That's for sure.
And most controversially,
Ron, they were looking at some dirty pictures and they wanted me to look too. Well, Marty, what did you do? Well, I said, look, guys, I like you a lot and I want to play with you, but I can't look at those pictures. I just can't do it.
whether it was the lessons they...
Why we got an episode like this about for kids? I don't even want to bring that topic up, you know what I'm saying? Not when it's kids. Now, if they got a question, you know what I'm saying?
Then
Then
that's
they
different.
address
But
it.
are like putting it out there to put it in there. Yeah.
That's a little weird and perverted.
What? Yeah.
What like area was this area probably?
Yeah, I was just
Like
trying to,
region wise?
Yeah, was it like?
That'd be south.
Well, I was talking about like the year.
It said 1970.
It did say
79.
Okay.
But like who, like what area? Like, because I know this is it like a national syndicated show that's like shown all over the U.S. But like, what is like the specific target region area that the show was aired in?
They taught, or Marty's blatant uncanniness, these two characters were the most vividly remembered part of the show. And this is important as these memories are essentially all we've been left with.
We are still covered with that darkness and with that sin. And when we say he'll wash us as white as snow, that's referring to the sin that's within us.
Joy Junction is classified today mainly as lost media. No official copies of the show have ever been published by its creators or the networks that owned it. It just kind of ended one day and was never talked about again by those involved with the project. And this lack of archiving stretches past just the media itself. If you were to look online for information on the show today, you would find next to nothing. There's no Wikipedia page, no actors, producers, or directors mentioning it in their work history or on their resumes. There's no official website. There's essentially nothing. Not even so much as an official date in which the show started and ended, despite the fact that the show apparently ran for 20 long years. We know for sure that the show aired on CTN in the 1980s, specifically in the Tampa Bay area, before it was later syndicated and broadcast across the country on channels such as TBN and Smile of a Child.
Okay.
But today, none of these networks mention the show having ever aired in their lineups, and none of them have ever provided an explanation as to why the show was pulled from the air. The only reason we even know anything about it is thanks to old recordings and VHS tapes captured by those who once enjoyed the show. With a few dozen episodes and some short clips from the series having made their way to YouTube in recent years, essentially serving as the only surviving relics of Joy Junction. Because of this, the show is largely a mystery, and information is incredibly scarce and hard to come by. But after doing some digging, I was able to find some mentions of it in old newspapers printed nearly 45 years ago that did shed a bit of light on the context surrounding its creation. The first mention of Joy Junction came in 1978 within the Evening Independent, though at this point it was not even a television show yet. Instead, advertisements were placed in the paper weekly for the Faith Community Church in Largo, Texas, that mentioned including some sort of in-person act specifically for children, called Joy Junction. It's unclear what this performance actually entailed, but coincidentally, just 1 year later, the show Joy Junction would begin filming in Largo, Florida, with these original performances likely serving as the inspiration and the basis for the show itself. Following this trail of newspapers, I also found that the show was created by a company called WCLF, which began broadcasting back in October of 1979, with the founder of the company vaguely mentioning Joy Junction as an upcoming project. And sure enough, 1 week later, that same paper included a television guide that mentioned Joy Junction showing on TV for the very first time, giving us its likely premiere date of November 10th, 1979. Aside from this, I was able to confirm that the show did in fact play all across the United States and wasn't limited to just Florida, which might be why finding an exact date on when the show ended has proven essentially impossible. But the most common belief across the internet is that the show lasted until somewhere around 2004, putting its lifespan at a surprising 25 years, which makes it all the more...
That's crazy.
Because that's the reason why I was asking earlier, because I was like, was it like...
Our childhood.
Our child, and
it would be.
It would have been, and I don't.
Our parents would have been.
2004.
Our parents would have been
79 to 2004.
Our parents would have been teenagers. They would have been teenagers when it first aired.
Yeah.
And then we were still kids when it went out the air.
Right.
But like you said, what was the motive reason? But I'll say there's one reason why we probably didn't see it. It was on TV. Was it TBN?
He said TBN. It aired on TBN.
And honestly, the only time I watched TBN was my mom turn on some church stuff at night. I never thought about going to TBN for like a kids television show. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Did you ever watch TBN? The Bible Network?
I remember it for some reason, but I've never like watched anything from
my pastor was on. I think we aired on there a couple times.
Essentially impossible. But the most common belief across the internet is that the show lasted until somewhere around 2004, putting its lifespan at a surprising 25 years, which makes it all the more unusual that there's hardly any mention of it online, and that there was seemingly no attempt to ever even archive it. It seemed as if the parties involved didn't just drop the show and forget about it. They completely washed their hands of it and tried their best to bury it. There are even rumors circulating that CTN themselves had all their remaining copies set on fire and destroyed so that the show would forever be forgotten. And when you consider everything that happened, this isn't really all that surprising. But what is surprising is the extent of the unraveling and the way in which it began, as it all started with a simple water bottle. It's unknown when exactly the discovery was made, just that it was a terrible one. Police arrest a man under the suspicion of distributing CP, only to find numerous images depicting it on his hard drive, with the vast majority of the victims involved being impossible to identify, except for one. Within the background of one of the images lay a hidden clue, a water bottle displaying the name of a swim and scuba school in Johnson County, Kansas City. Police did a search of the area, asking for help identifying the victim, which led them to a young child who swiftly pointed out their abuser as being a man named Michael Arnett. Michael was immediately arrested, after which the true extent of his crime would be uncovered on his home computers. They contained countless photographs and videos depicting the same disturbing material, including a great deal that was produced by Michael himself. The contents of these images are genuinely some of the most appalling I've ever heard described, though we'll get more into that later, because there is something more relevant to this video that they found on his device. It was a lengthy online chat history with a man named Ronald Brown.
And Ron, you're not one to talk. You're always on the telephone too. Well, I guess you've got a point there, Marty.
Ronald's life was centered around three things.
I ain't never trust a man to have his hand up a doll ass. A grown man sitting around there with a hand up a doll ass talking to kids all day. But I don't know. It's sad to say that, you know, certain people got a certain look about themselves, but he got that look.
I feel you.
Does he not, though?
I said I feel you.
Oh, it's somebody's car.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Just something about this guy, and even the topic of the pictures thing, that didn't sit right with me. I'm like again, why are we talking about?
And I also wonder with the show, is it does everyone know like what the next person is going to already like say?
Like
it's like a script or something, or you just kind of go off like let your heart lead you to say whatever. Cause what I'm
you saying like
because with the picture thing, you said that wrote you somebody like if that's the case and somebody was like gave the okay to
that was
say,
like the topic
of
the show,
because they had like little topics.
It might been though.
You know what I'm saying? So
it might been though, because a lot of times I wonder also, do y'all run and
pre-record?
Not pre-record, like practice. Like do y'all have like say for instance, it aired on. Also, like you said, do y'all pre-record or is it live? And then do y'all do rehearsals through the week to say, hey, or just we want it to be more natural, more organic and all that. So we don't want to.
Yeah, I do have questions.
Yeah,
I guess you've got a point there, Marty.
Ronald's life was centered around three things: ventriloquism, Christianity, and children. His primary job was working as a traveling puppeteer with a show called Puppets Plus, working school events, birthday parties, and at local malls. He also hosted a weekly puppet show for his local congregation that he billed as being specifically for children. And of course, he had his role on Joy Junction. Every aspect of his life brought him in close proximity to children. And as it turns out, there were several undisclosed incidents that raised serious red flags about this. The first incident occurred in 1998, at a time when Joy Junction was still believed to be in circulation across TV stations. Brown was driving home late one evening when a police officer pulled him over for speeding. The officer shined his light in the car as Ronald reached for his documents, only for his light to catch something unusual stuck between the seat cushions. It was underwear. Children's underwear. Despite the alarming nature of this, Ronald would end up convincing the officer that nothing strange was going on, claiming that the old pair of briefs merely belonged to his puppet, Marty. That night, Ronald was allowed to drive away without further questioning. Though things get stranger from here.
Do they really be putting draws on puppets? I'm saying not like, I know his was a lot, but I'm saying, dude. I guess it's not something you'll ask because he's like, all right, I'll take your word for it. You know what I'm saying? If you see,
like if someone said that and you like, no, like, oh, okay, well maybe so, but no. Like, for what?
Because you see them having clothes on, so you like, all right, maybe y'all trying to make it realistic as possible. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, it's a little weird anyway. To be, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird.
Ronald was allowed to drive away without further questioning. Though things get stranger from here. Around the time of this encounter, Ronald had been living in a home conveniently located less than a block away from a popular playground. And upon moving into this home, neighbors began to complain of Ronald's relationship with young children in the area. Every Wednesday, kids from around the block would ride their scooters and their bikes over to his house for free pizza. The group would eventually emerge from the home, and Ronald would drive them in his van to a nearby church, where he would supposedly perform his ventriloquism. These weekly meetups were strange to say the least, especially because they were allegedly fairly secretive, with some children even sneaking off to meet the man without telling their parents.
What?
There were even other allegations that Ronald himself had hid their bikes underneath his home, almost as if he was trying to avoid any suspicion. And although I couldn't find concrete proof of this, it was rumored that when neighbors checked underneath his home, they reported not only finding these bikes, but used sex toys as well, which were stashed there for unknown reasons. There were never any sort of allegations made against Ron, legal or otherwise, but the red flags here are glaring. Red flags that seemingly went ignored, as people bought into Ronald's act as a God-fearing, silly ventriloquist. Though in reality, the chats found on the computer of Michael Arnett shattered this perception in the most dramatic way imaginable. Though even so, these chats aren't what you would expect. No, somehow they are much, much worse. Within their conversations were numerous messages between the two men, fantasizing about not only killing children, but eating them as well, with most of the messages being far too vile to discuss or even show in this video. And this wasn't just fascination, it was obsession. Ronald had even found a child at his church that he frequently discussed wanting to eat, mentioning that he would be the perfect feast for Easter, describing what it would be like to end his life and to consume his body. And this went far past just talking, as Brown had taken photos of the child from afar and had actually been formulating a plan to kidnap him. He had even sent a photo of the child with black lines drawn over it to show the various spots in which Ronald wanted to butcher him. This was all supported by his friend Michael too, who himself claimed to have eaten multiple children, with the man even sending a photo of a 2-year-old girl that was seen inside of a pot.
What?
Inside of.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. I mean, God. What was the best part? Oh.
Wow.
This some next level shit right here. I thought we was going another route.
Wow.
That's crazy, bro. Whew. We got the wheat, Nick. God damn.
Photo of a 2-year-old girl that was seen inside of a pot, inside of an oven. And this wasn't the end of the shocking discoveries either, as things were made even worse upon investigators searching into Ronald's username, UE Lime. In doing so, they discovered an account on a website called cutedeadguys.net, which was and is a forum for sharing images of the dead between those who fetishize corpses. And within his account, Ronald stated that he was one of these people too, admitting that he loved the sight of dead boys ever since he was a young man. And he wasn't lying either. Upon these revelations, Ronald's home was raided, where police would find over 200 images containing CP, which didn't even include the hundreds of others showing tied up children, children being abused, and children that appeared to be dead. Along with this, police also found a blow-up sex doll in the home that was dressed in little boy's clothing, and inside one of his sock drawers was another hard drive with images of countless dead children, as well as a single flyer for a missing child in the area. He also had hundreds of images of a young boy named Andrew, who had attended Brown's church and youth group, with the boy having died of a brain tumor years before. Photos that showed the boy's slow physical decline, all the way until his memorial service.
You know, Don, you have to invite Jesus Christ to come into your heart and ask him to forgive you of your sin.
Upon his arrest, Ronald Brown admitted to everything. He truly did want to eat the child he had been eyeing up at his church, along with many others over the years. Though after saying this, he claimed that he would never actually have carried through with it, and that Michael and him were merely role-playing. This is heavily debated to this day, as technically there isn't proof that any of these delusions spilled over to the real world. But that's only what we know of, and considering the large quantity of CP in his home, the self-admitted obsession with dead little boys, and the actual plans he had to kidnap and eat a child, it seemed clear that it was only a matter of time before he finally followed through with his desires. For Ronald, there was no defense, and because of this, the judge handed down a sentence of 20 years in 2014, which would wind up becoming a life sentence, as it appears he passed away sometime in 2020, well before his scheduled release.
Oh, he passed during the demic.
He passed.
Possibly because of the demic.
Possibly.
Ooh. This is a sick fella right here, bro.
Super beyond.
And y'all think he's never acted upon
Beyond.
anything?
Or even if he
There's
hasn't
no
at
way.
that time, it's only someone like that, and you having like
He had too much access to kids, though.
you know what I'm saying?
And then my thing is, if it's a missing poster, and like a lot of times, those who victimize people have a souvenir. So,
I'm
do you
just
think
saying-
he has possibly? Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think he has any victims?
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I can't necessarily say that he has. If they have like no type of evidence, I'm not gonna like put things out out there. But at the same time, in my head, I'm like, I don't feel like it would have just continued to stay in the chat. Why you keep going back? I don't think
No,
that
because
it
it
would
had a term on there.
I don't think that it would have continued to just stay in the chat between him and the other man. I feel like they would have eventually acted upon if they haven't already.
No, the other one said he has done.
Okay, the other one said he has done. Okay, I don't feel like Ronald would have just continued to talk to him about it. I feel like he would have eventually acted upon it. Eventually, if he hasn't already.
Yeah.
But
now, would he have told him that he has? Some people still like to keep they certain things they have done a secret. Just because you're an open book don't mean they're an open book. So just because one person say, "Hey, I've done it," doesn't necessarily gonna give him the green light to tell you what he's done.
I feel like he would have.
Oh, you think they were that close to buddy up?
Y'all sharing that much when y'all putting that much out there, that's sick already. Y'all minds are sick, so y'all comfortable. Like y'all feeding off of this. Y'all getting this type of arousal or whatever out of it. Yeah, y'all sharing stuff.
But
Maybe not.
You're not gonna.
I don't know. Maybe not. Because if the other one comfortable enough, I get what you're saying. Like some people are, and some people like, well, I want to keep mine, a little, more
Under wraps. Yeah, but
it's all sick.
But you do surround what I'm saying. You're expressing yourself around too many people who are actively doing things for you to be not actively doing it as well. That's like, say,
And
for
why
instance,
would you
somebody on the street, if you constantly keep hanging around people who gonna rob and steal, all the time they telling you how they didn't got away with this. Eventually, you're gonna be like, shit, let me just take some. Let me take some candy or something. Let me just see if I get the same thrill. If I get the, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you, especially you sneaking around, taking kids off in your little bus or whatever you had to church. Feeding
You got toys underneath the house
and trust you, because that's what you build in this relationship, so that they can trust you.
Yeah,
and I think
a pet groomer.
Yeah,
I'm just say that. I'm saying for
yeah. But that's scary. That's so scary, especially because I don't want to get into like.
Just say it.
No, I was about to get into like the church thing as far as like, but I said I don't want to get into all that. But that's super scary. Like to think that someone is like, like you in church whenever you go to church, Sunday, Wednesday, you on this TV show, you
people feel as though that they can trust you.
They feel as though that they can, and then the fact that they are either dropping their kids, because I don't know if the parents are at the studio when y'all filming, you either dropping your kids off and they're around this man that he's they're coming to his house, like even if some of the parents maybe allowed their kids to because of who he was in the church or whatever the case may be, and some of them probably thought it was, but the kids allegedly sneaking off and going, because we're not sure about that, but it's just like having this trust and knowing that this man is sick and you not knowing, that is so scary as a parent. Like I can only imagine as a parent to like.
Because you would think
this man fantasizing about eating kids and doing other things. That's come on. That's crazy. I can't even wrap my head around it. It makes me sick to my stomach.
2020, well before his scheduled release. This discovery changed the entire context surrounding Joy Junction, the wholesome TV show beloved by children all across the country, only for one of its main stars to be outed as a predator of the most disturbing caliber. But there was one last discovery made by law enforcement in Ronald's case that makes the show that much more chilling. During the raid on Ronald's home, officers found a collection of journals that Ronald wrote in daily, where he obsessively discussed young boys that he had been coming into contact with, highlighting his desire to know what it was like to kill them, and to know how they taste. These journals, to my knowledge, have never been released to the public, but the thing I find most interesting about this is the date at which these journals started. 1978, meaning that this disturbing desire had been brewing inside of him for decades. And coincidentally, Joy Junction just so happened to start 1 year later, in 1979, meaning that many of the kids seen on this program were likely the very same ones that Ronald wanted to eat. Given this context, it's no wonder why all parties involved with Joy Junction cut ties with it completely. It just changes the entire feeling of the show. From the moment that one simple water bottle was identified, Joy Junction's fate was sealed, and so was Ronald Brown's. Still though, I'm left with many questions after reviewing this case. Was there anything more to that traffic stop in 1998, or those pizza parties with the kids? And how serious was Ronald about following through with his plans to kill C, with the answer to these questions likely being taken to the grave along with him? But what I find so fascinating about this case is that the fallout of the raid on Michael Arnett's home is still being felt to this very day. Honest devices weren't just chats from Ronald Brown. In fact, there were hundreds of other predators, with officers going on to arrest many of them, some of whom are still in the process of being tried and sentenced. Wow. And when reading into some of these other cases involving Michael, it's evident just how serious these people were about their dark cravings. One of these men was even recently caught having built an entire bunker, equipped with torture tools in preparation for his first victim, which he planned to share with Michael. On top of all the CP distribution, these fantasies about killing children weren't just roleplay. These were very real thoughts and very real plans. But the one small bright spot of this case is that the 2-year-old girl that Michael had photographed in his oven, thankfully was found alive and well. And he too never got to carry through with eating a child, at least that we know. But his
we know. Also,
I'm sick.
Now, I'll say this: I don't believe Ron Consume was, but do I feel like he has done some things? Yes. You put yourself in too many situations too many chats, too many. You've done.
And he too never got to carry through with eating a child, at least that we know. But his physical abuse against them was in fact very real, and as were his desires that him and Ronald likely would have acted on had this entire ring never been exposed.
Yep.
When it was conceived, Joy Junction was meant to teach children morals, right from wrong, but ironically, many of these lessons just so happened to be taught by a man who was actively engaging in the very behaviors that were condemned by Joy Junction.
Ron, they were looking at some dirty pictures and they wanted me to look too. As your companions, you should have friends who have pure and clean thoughts and will only give you good ideas.
With his actions forever tainting the show and condemning it to a lifetime of obscurity, remembered only for the man and his puppet who brought the whole thing down.
As a matter of fact, there's something I want to share right now. Really? That's right. Don't go away, kids. Joy Junction is coming right back.
This was a sick episode.
I don't get people. I
Sick
really don't.
episode.
That's definitely disturbing. And there's no doubt in me that if, with the water, if he didn't get called, if they didn't get called, that they wouldn't have acted upon things.
Facts.
Like,
They would have. Honestly, they probably would have linked up and did it together.
But like he said, Michael was already doing, like, already had, like, physical type things going on with, So
well, you had photos and stuff that they could actually go link back with certain.
There's no doubt in me that they wouldn't have acted upon everything that they was talking about. They was just getting started. And I'm so glad. So, like, that's...
And with Ron, even with the underwear, if it's just underwear for your dummy, why would you have it squished into your...
In between the seats.
Those actually belong to somebody. And you're trying to hide it. Because even if they didn't belong here, I think this man that did some... We won't have, like, complete evidence to like, really pinpoint it. You know what I'm saying? Especially since he's now deceased. So we don't have... Oh, man, that's crazy, bro.
Very much so.
Crazy, nasty, disgusting. Very much so, man. Y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is... We are. We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me.